Welcome to the Moon Manifesting Podcast. I'm Kyra, Howearth, your host. Here on the show, we talk all about manifesting your dreams with the power of the moon so you can use the cosmic energy to transform your life. So you want to work from home, but you're finding that your kids are just taking up so much of your time. Whether you have young kids who are too young for school, or maybe you've chosen to homeschool, or maybe you're just finding that your kids just suck up a lot of your time, right? And it's hard work when you do have kids. There's so much to do. I totally feel you if you were in this situation. And it can be really heartbreaking because you feel like you have such meaningful work that you want to do in the world, but at this time of your life, it feels like your time is getting sucked up by your kids, by your family, by all the never-ending piles of washing and so forth. So the thing is, right, we all have 24 hours in a day. We all have the same amount of time as Elon Musk and all the other people in the world who are out there doing the things. And as mums, sometimes our time does get sucked into the endless amounts of housework and cooking and cleaning and all of the things. But what if you could prioritize the time that you do have and start to find where you actually do have time to spend on doing the meaningful work that you actually want to be doing? So the solution is to prioritize what it is that you actually want to achieve each day and work with the time that you do have, because you'll find that you do have time and maybe you're just not using it as productively. So today is all about productivity hacks for time-poor mumpreneurs. If you are a mum, or maybe not necessarily a mum, but I'm talking specifically to the mums today, and you either want to work from home or you are already working from home, but you just don't feel like you have enough hours in the day to dedicate to your business, we're going to be going through quite a lot of stuff today to help you boost your productivity so that you can maximize the time that you do have, so that you can not sacrifice your role as a mother, but also create a meaningful impact in the world and create an income doing the work that you're here to do. So even if it's just for a few hours a week, literally this is enough. So before we go into these productivity hacks, and I have 3 specific hacks I'm going to be sharing with you today, I want to tell you a bit about me and my story, particularly if you're new to the podcast. You may not know anything about me. So I actually have 4 kids and I homeschool. And when I tell people this, they're always so shocked, because not only do I run multiple businesses, I also work out in my community. I teach yoga classes and a few other things. And so I'm always doing things, and people just don't know how I manage to do all this when I'm also homeschooling my 4 kids. So if I can do this, you absolutely can too. So fun fact about me, I have actually never really had a job, a 9-to-5 job. I did for maybe 3 months when I was 18, and then I fell pregnant with my eldest baby, and I was pretty much like a housewife since then. But I got bored quite early on. I think my son was only a few months old, my eldest, when I felt the call to begin my entrepreneur journey when I was only 19. So I have always juggled motherhood with businesses, and I've learnt over the years how to maximize the time that I do have so that I can work in my business, but also, be a really great mom. I don't want to have to do this work at the expense of one of my highest values, which is having quality time with my kids, right? So over the years, during my entrepreneur journey, some of the things I've done, I was a herbalist and I was seeing clients in clinic. And the interesting thing with this was that I only had 1 clinic day a week, so that I could spend the rest of the time with my kids. At that point, my youngest, I had 4 kids by then, and my youngest was only about 1.5. So she was still breastfeeding. So 1 clinic day was, enough for me. And the thing was, I was making more money in that 1 day a week than I could have, having any other job, working a full-time sort of job. So for me, that was really confirmation that I can work part-time hours and still create a full-time income. So as I shifted out of my clinic space and began my more spiritual journey to where I am now, I've started to shift my work life around. And so now I'm work just a few hours maybe each day, and I just kind of spread it out to these pockets of time when I can, and I'm actually only spending a few hours per week actually with clients, whether that's in one-on-one settings or in my group programs, having group calls and that sort of thing. It's actually very little time. But the thing is, I'm making even more money now because I also have in place passive income streams. So there'll be times when I'm on holidays with my kids, or we're down playing at the park or something, and I'll be I just made some money. But I know that sounds great, but it wasn't always this way, and it's taken a lot of time and dedication and consistency to get to this place. So I'm going to share with you a bit more about how you can do this for yourself. But one of the things that I did do was, as I transitioned my business into what it is now, even before then, back in the day, I was spending so much time on things that didn't actually matter. And I guess it's just more in recent years that I've begun to be more aware of where I'm spending my energy on things that don't matter. And when I say that, I'm talking about when I first started one of my online businesses when I was 19, I spent hours and hours, every night. I'd put my son to bed and I was right, I'm going to do some work. But guess what I was doing? I was working on the SEO, the search engine optimization of my website, because I really wanted to get onto the first page of Google. But I just spent way too much energy on this, and I never got to the first page of Google for what I was trying to do. And that really did not make a big impact on my business. And I could have spent that time doing other things. And then another time I had another business where I was doing vegan food blogging. And I spent so much time getting the most perfect photos of all my recipes that I'd created, so that it was insta perfect. And I just spent way too much time on this, especially because I didn't really have any systems in place to actually make money from this. And so, it was just such a waste of time looking back. And there was so many other things where I just kind of stumbled through my way, wasting a lot of time without really having strategies in place, without really knowing what I was doing. And honestly, there's things that I was doing that I could have paid someone else to do, and it would have been so much cheaper and faster than me trying to do things myself. So it wasn't until I really doubled down on the productivity hacks I'm going to share with you today that I was able to be more mindful and intentional with my time, so that I wasn't wasting those precious nap time hours on doing stuff that really wasn't going to be bringing me more income or more impact in my business. So let's start off with productivity hack number 1. And that is, firstly, do a time audit. Okay, so what that means is look at your actual day and what do you actually spend your time doing. So what time do you actually wake up? And are you actually getting out of bed when you wake up? Or are you staying in bed? Are you scrolling on your phone? Are you wasting time when you're first waking up? And then what do you do with your time? If you don't actually know, it can actually be a really helpful exercise to actually record everything that you do throughout a whole 24-hour period, or even across a few days, to get a deeper look into how you're actually spending your time. And even just in doing that exercise itself, as you're recording these things down, you might be oh, I've got to record this down. I'm not going to waste this time. I don't want to write down that I was scrolling on Facebook for half an hour. I'm actually going to be really intentional with how I'm going to spend this next half hour. So just doing the time audit in itself can be like such a mind-opening activity and help you to create shifts with how you're spending your time. But the point here is to actually get real about what your day is actually looking like. Like when you're getting like some precious kid-free time to work on your business, what are you actually doing with that time? Are you running around the house like putting on loads of washing, packing the dishwasher and that sort of thing? Or are you actually doing the work that's actually going to make an impact, that's actually meaningful for you and is going to help boost your income? So notice where in your day you might be wasting time, where you might be procrastinating or just getting sucked into things that don't actually matter. Or like things that you could even outsource, whether that's like, hiring someone to help you with the housework so that you can free up your time to do things that are actually going to help you and, create a business, create some income coming in from your business. Or like, could you even outsource stuff to your kids? Like your kids could even be doing a lot of the things that you're probably wasting your time doing when you could be doing other things that are more meaningful for you. So the other thing to do with your time audit is noticing the time when you're actively working in your business. So let's say like you've got the baby down for a nap, you've got maybe an hour up your sleeve. So how productive are you going to be in that hour? And like, if your baby's, not at nap time, like just think about like, some other sort of situation when you have like maybe an hour or so to spend in your business. How productive are you going to be? And I want you to give yourself a rating here out of 1 to 10. So 1 will be least productive. You're like procrastinating the whole time or just scrolling or just doing something that's, not very productive at all. Napping is good though. Or like 10 is the most productive. Like you're like on fire, you're getting so much stuff done. You've smashed out all this work in like an hour. So give yourself a rating there and consider, how could you boost your productivity here? Like, are you noticing where you're wasting time, where you're getting sucked into things, or where you just could, be using that time with a bit more mindfulness and intention? Okay, so that's your first productivity hack. Number 2 is to plan and strategize for success. So, okay, we've got real, we've had a look at where you're actually spending your time. Now, the next step is to consider what would you actually like to do with your time? Okay, so looking at like what your day is looking like at the moment and like a typical day for you, what would your ideal day look like? So this could be really fun and really inspiring, this activity. You can think about the goals that you want to work towards and like when are you going to work on those goals? So if you've set a goal for yourself that you want to achieve something, by the end of the month, when are you actually going to schedule in the time to do the work so that you can meet that goal? So this is why planning is really crucial for success, because it's one thing to set goals and then it's another thing to actually work on those goals. And if you're time poor, you might find yourself saying, well, I don't have time for that. When am I going to find the time for this? This is how you're going to find the time for this. You're going to prioritize your goals. You're going to schedule the time in so that you can actively work towards those goals. Now, the other thing that I'd like you to do here is think about why you're doing the things that you do. Okay, so thinking about like why are you posting on social media? Why are you writing a blog post? Why are you like working on your SEO, your search engine optimization, or anything else? I want you to find the purpose of these activities that you're doing. Because if you find your why, if you find your purpose, then you're going to know, okay, well, this is why I'm doing this. This is happening for a reason. I'm being really productive with this. And if you can't really find a reason or you don't really have a strategy behind that, then maybe it's a waste of time. So a bit of an example here is like, for example, you're making a reel to put up on Instagram and, maybe you're spending half an hour creating this reel, like filming the content and then doing the editing on your phone, putting the music on, writing out the caption, all that sort of thing. And the thing I want you to think about here is, why are you actually doing this reel? Why are you spending so much time on this reel? So if you're not actually sure why, like if you're doing it to like maybe, get some more likes, get some more followers, that's a reason why. But why are you bringing these people into your world? I want you to think and get really clear about your strategy. And I'm talking like really specifically about social media here, but like this could apply to so many things, right? Because a lot of the times we'll do things because we think we have to, or, we're trying to keep up with society, keep up with what's trending. But if you don't have a clear strategy of, what impact this action is actually going to take, then maybe it's not actually a good use of your time. So going back to this example of doing an Instagram reel, like, reels are great. They can really boost your reach and that sort of thing. But if you're just doing one for like entertainment, like you're just doing a funny reel because, you thought it would be funny and, add a bit of humor, a bit of entertainment. But if that's not related to like what you're actually offering in your business, if you don't have a call to action on your reel, like you're really missing out, and you could be using this time in such a better way to actually get the desired results. Because like, let's face it, if you're posting on social media, you're posting a reel, you're boosting your reach. Like you want to reach more people because you want them to buy from you. So if you're not creating a way for them to like click through and see, oh, okay, I see what this girl's posting about. I really like her stuff. I want to find out more. Oh, look, she's got like something for sale. I'm going to click through and buy that. If there's no real path, then yes, it could be a waste of time. Okay, so just being really mindful and finding the purpose behind why you're doing the activities that you're doing. Okay, so my third productivity hack, and oh my gosh, this one is super powerful. This one completely changed my life when I started implementing this. I'm going to tell you all about this after the break. Today's podcast episode is brought to you by Website Witchery, magical websites for soulpreneurs. Find out more at websitewitchery.com. Okay, so productivity hack number 3. This one, like I said, really changed my life. And this is either creating or like adding all these things into your Google Calendar. And it doesn't have to be Google Calendar. It could be like, a Apple Calendar or whatever sort of calendar, digital calendar that you use. I use Google Calendar, or like whatever calendar just kind of syncs up with my phone, I guess, because it syncs to my phone, it syncs to my computers, I get notifications, and I'm like, I can set up all this stuff so that I know exactly what I'm meant to be doing with my time, and I get, these timely notifications. So like, Kyra, now it's time to do this. So this, when I first realized I could do this and that I could really take control of my time and schedule in things into my life in this way, it just really opened my mind to seeing my days as like this 24-hour, window, and I can actually like schedule out things in a timely manner. Because I don't know about you, but like sometimes I'll just write out myself a to-do list, and in my head I kind of feel like, oh, I could do all these things in an hour, and then when I actually go to do those things, it takes way much longer than what I was thinking. But if you schedule things into your calendar and like you can see like, okay, I've got a 1-hour appointment here today, and then I've got a bit of driving time before I get to this next thing, and then I've got to spend 2 hours here, then you can like start scheduling things into your actual day, and you actually see what you have time for and what you literally just don't have time for on that particular day. So what I suggest with your Google Calendar or, other online calendar is to start entering your ideal daily activities, even things that like you're routinely doing. The cool thing about like these online calendars is that you can often set it as a recurring task. So there are a lot of things that I have that recur at the same time every day. I've scheduled in things like my breakfast time, my lunch break, my daily lunch break. I even have time scheduled in for social media every morning, so that I'm really intentional about jumping onto social media at that time to engage with people, to post on socials, or that sort of thing. So just thinking about like your ideal day. So we went through this back when we did the time audit and, planning for a success. Like we started to think about what does our ideal day look like? So start scheduling those things into your day, into your calendar. Let it have like a little notification that pops up maybe 10 minutes beforehand. So you've got 10 minutes to wrap up the activity you're currently working on before you move on to that next activity. And you'll find that you actually have time to do the things that you want to do. You're going to find yourself so much more structured and self-disciplined. And the thing is, like, structure and self-discipline, I feel like people think that these are often a bad thing, but it's such a good thing, because within that, it allows you to have more freedom. It allows you to have more time freedom. So don't be afraid of getting a bit structured, and like, you can leave yourself times when, you know, you've got this free time that you can fill with whatever you want, right? You don't have to structure every little single detail into your calendar. Leave yourself some playroom, but absolutely, like, you know, schedule these things into your calendar, like all these like mundane things, like even when you do your weekly grocery shopping or whatever else that you find yourself doing over and over again. Schedule these things into your calendar. Now, the other thing that you might want to do here is change your morning alarm to the time that you actually want to get up at. So my big tip here, especially if you've got kids, is get up earlier. Because those few hours before the kids wake up, the world is quite quiet and still, and this is actually such a productive time. I love getting up early these days. I used to be such a night owl. I used to think that nights were when I was most productive, but in recent years, I found that mornings are actually way more productive, and you're really like using like your natural hormone levels and that sort of thing when you're waking up early and being productive early in the morning. So yeah, huge tip there that will change your life. Get up early before the kids wake up and you will find you are so much more productive with your day. And it gives you energy as well. Like, yeah, you'll get into a routine with it. Try it out. Let me know how you go. So, okay, by now, hopefully you've got some things scheduled into your calendar. So what the hard thing is here to do is to actually stick to that plan. So the calendar, it can make it easier with those notifications that you can set to pop up a few minutes before each activity. But you've actually got to stick to that plan. You've got to actually do the work. You've got to have that self-discipline to be like, okay, my calendar's saying that now I've got to finish off this and I need to, you know, do this next thing. So make sure you're sticking to that plan, because otherwise, you know, the plan isn't going to work for itself. Nothing's going to change until you actually change and do the work, okay? So stick to your plan. Now, the other thing you want to do here is revisit your goals and enter your goals into your calendar. So like I said before, if you've got like a monthly goal or, you know, some goals that you set at the start of the month, schedule those into your calendar. Enter those goals into your calendar. When are you going to do like those house renovations? When are you going to work on that course that you signed up for? When are you going to do all these things that you wanted to do? And then thinking about like even your yearly goals, like, you know, maybe you wanted to go on a trip away somewhere. Schedule it into your calendar. Scheduling it into your calendar is such an amazing life hack, honestly, because if it's scheduled in, you're going to do it. And this is like why I consistently get up early and go to yoga at 6 a.m. because I schedule it in. If it's scheduled in, it's so much harder to back out because your brain's like, okay, it's scheduled in. I've got to go do this thing. So huge life hack. Do that. So I know that this could all be a bit difficult if you do have young kids or babies, because like, let's face it, younger kids can be really unpredictable, especially with nap times and that sort of thing, but do the best that you can. And if you like have any dedicated kid-free hours, like when the kids might go somewhere or your husband's home or someone else can look after the kids, schedule that time in and use that time productively. If you know in advance that you've got this time, make sure you schedule that time in and try to be as productive as you can during that time. So, do you now see how you've gone from feeling time poor to realizing that you have as many hours in the day as, like, you know, billionaires and everyone else in the world? And now you know exactly how to maximize those hours so that you can boost your productivity, even if you're like balancing work and kids and you've got like, you know, so much going on with your home and family life. You can still absolutely maximize those precious few kid-free hours that you have and be as productive as you can to make the maximum impact with your business. So we are going to be working on more productivity hacks just like this to create a better work-life balance for mumpreneurs, as well as so many other essential topics for growing and evolving your business inside the Soul Aligned Business Mastermind. So if you're really intrigued by what you've heard here today and you're craving more, you're really focus on this vision of yourself working from home, balancing work with your kids and your family life without sacrificing your role as a mum and as a parent, then the Soul Aligned Business Mastermind is for you. We are going on a 6-month journey together. It's a group mastermind that's already got some amazing healers and mumpreneurs inside. And over the next 6 months, you're going to be working on growing your business in alignment with your higher purpose in life. You're going to be discovering the work that you're actually here to do and finding out how to do this in a way that works for you and your desired lifestyle so that you can create more money doing what you were born to do. So the link to join the Soul Aligned Business Mastermind is in the show notes. Otherwise, you can go to kyrahowearth.com/SABM for Soul Aligned Business Mastermind. SABM. I always feel like I have to spell that out because it's a bit weird. Anyways, so if that sounds like something that you need, if you really need a hand with your business to grow and evolve, but without sacrificing your role as a parent, I'm here for you. Let me teach you everything I know about running a business while homeschooling my 4 kids, because if I can do this, so can you. So imagine what you could do with all this extra time now that you've cleaned up your calendar, you've done a time audit on your life, and you figured out exactly how to boost your productivity. Just imagine how much more of an impact you can make once you start prioritizing the things that actually matter into your life. I hope that this episode was super helpful for you today here on the Moon Manifesting Podcast. Stay tuned. Stay magical and stay manifesting. I will speak with you soon in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Moon Manifesting Podcast. If you are curious about working with the moon, you can read my book, Moon Manifesting, or join us inside the Moon Manifesting Coven. You'll find the links in the show notes or go to kyrahowearth.com.